everybody. You know what day it is. It's not Tuesday. It's Wednesday.
It's hump day.
All right, hump
and
day.
The Miller Boyzzz here to get you over the hump. Gotta get you over the hump. Hey. Yeah. New day, new time.
So, new day, new time. This is number 2.
Over here kicking
this
stuff.
is week number 2, Wednesdays.
See.
So, week number 2 on Wednesdays.
That's all.
You got In Touch with the Miller Boyzzz, your weekly talk show where we discuss all things impacting the African-American community of the city of Fresno and the larger surrounding areas. It's me and my brother over there, Brother G, who try to hold it down in this space for you. 3 quick announcements. Unless you gotta say something? 3 quick announcements. Census, okay? 2020census.org. Go, yeah, you can snore you want to. Go get your census done. Cannot be any more simple of a process. Please go get your census done. We and whatever community you live in need you to make sure that you, as well as everyone that you know, completes their census so that they get their fair share of federal dollars for hospitals, schools, roads, and all kind of other federally funded projects. So please make sure you go to 2020census.org, complete your census. Californians, remember, everybody, the general election is November the 3rd, Tuesday, November the 3rd. You must be registered in order to participate. In California, everybody, all registered voters will get their ballot mailed to them at their house. They'll have a couple of different ways to be able to return that. But first of all, you need to make sure that you're registered. So please go to sos.ca.gov, which is the Secretary of State of California's website. If you go there, you'll see on the tab there, as it is on the screen right now, you can find, right there you can get registered. It takes a matter of 3 minutes. So 5 minutes to complete your census, 3 minutes to complete your voter registration, and you're straight and ready for the next election in November. Hey. So third announcement is a point of personal privilege. We're in the 4th of July season. Those of you in the Fresno area who participate in fireworks, please go by West and Ashland and support the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which I'm a member of. Our alumni chapter has been selling fireworks for about the last 5 or 6 years. And from that, we've been able to give about $10,000 in scholarships to local high school, African-American high school graduating seniors. We're very proud to be able to do that, and we're only able to do it in the generosity that we are able to do that because of your support in what we're doing in our major fundraiser, which is with the fireworks. This past year, we were able to give 7 $1,000 scholarships. This next year, we're hoping that we'll be able to give 12 $1,000 scholarships to graduating seniors moving forward. But we need your help and your assistance. If you do not participate, I'm finding out as I make these announcements, a lot of people do not participate in fireworks for a variety of different reasons. Please consider making a donation. And I will come back. I have to pull up that information. But there's also a way for you to be able to make a tax-deductible donation. We are a 501c3. We're an educational foundation, and so you give us a donation, we will send you back a tax ID letter for your taxes, for your 2020 taxes. You benefit from it, we benefit from it, and then the kids that we're able to sponsor will be able to benefit for it also. So again, we are at the corner of West and Ashland. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, will be open from noon until 7. Friday will be open from 10 until basically dark. And then on Saturday, which is actually the 4th of July, we'll be open from 8 in the morning until whenever y'all buy up all of our merchandise so we can go home and enjoy the holiday ourselves. So again, West and Ashland, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated there. We are our vendor is the TNT Fireworks. Please come by and support us. Done.
Does everybody know what this is? It goes around your mouth, behind your ears.
You funny.
Over your ears. Wear your mask.
Have you?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen these Facebook posts where dudes is with their girlfriends and they forget their mask and they had a girl pull off their underwear to make a mask out of it? It's pretty funny. There was one that was in Spanish where I didn't understand a word that they were saying, but it was hilarious. Me and the doorman both, the doorman in the post, got a kick out of it.
Well, you know, very rarely do you catch me where I'm speechless, but I ain't going. What if your girl got on crotchless drawers?
And then the mask ain't gonna do you no good.
The elephant
She need
hanging
to
out.
have if she got full underwear on and not the skimpy ones, you just turn around the other way and do it and then do it backwards. But anyway, I thought that you can get a kick out of that.
Don't turn it around.
Hey, that's a perfect segue though.
Okay.
That wasn't gonna be my first question for you, but since you brought it up, have you been keeping?
Yes, I do wear underwear every day.
No, anybody.
No,
don't nobody care about your hygiene. Okay. Have you been keeping up with the national debate about face masks and the coronavirus spikes that we got in, and all the research that's starting to come out about the statistics of people who? So if
No, you know, I'm a very simple and plain person. The idiot in chief says that we shouldn't wear masks. Back in February, he told everybody that this was a hoax, and that portion of the population has ran with that understanding. And so now everybody's getting sick and we're having a second spike. It's so ironic that what they wanted to do was open up the economy so badly that they did not show the patience and the intelligence to stifle what we have called a communicable disease now that's running rampant throughout our society. And I know that they say that it's unfortunate that some people are going to die, but you know, in a civil society, no one should be made to
should be an example.
should die. I mean, yeah, you know, it's just.
We're what, 127,000 now?
I don't know. They told him it was going to be 200, the way it was going to be, and you know, he said that it was going. Anyway, yeah. No, I haven't been, but I know that I've been approached several different times and got into discussions with people about wearing masks, because if I'm by myself out somewhere, I don't wear a mask. But if I'm going into a store, or if I'm in a public place where there's other people, then I wear a mask. And the reason is not for the safety of myself, it's for the safety of the others that are around me. And these people do not, they have a hard time believing simple facts.
So, and I know I'm gonna misquote this, I should have wrote it down. But if you and I are in a room with no mask, like we're doing now,
Yes.
and I'm infected and you're not, the likelihood that I transmit the virus to you, even if you stay away from me 6 feet, goes up the longer we stay in a closed environment together,
Right.
and closer stuff. I want to say it's like at 75% or something like that. If I'm infected and I have a mask on and you don't, it's like a 70-something% chance that you're going to contract the virus from me. If
you have a mask on and you're infected?
Yes.
Even though you have a mask on? Okay.
It's like 70-something% or whatever.
Okay.
Take that back. If I don't have a mask on and I'm infected and you have a mask on,
Right. That's what
then it's like a 70-something%.
That's what I was envisioning.
If I have the mask on and I'm infected and you don't, then it goes, the percentages go down. If both of us are wearing a mask and I'm infected and you're, then it even goes down even further. And so there are now these trends that says that wearing a mask does not totally prevent the transmission of the disease, but it definitely lowers the possibility of transmitting and contracting disease. It goes down to minuscule numbers. And so I don't understand why people would be fighting back so hardly about these masks.
Well, that goes back to what I always talk about, the psychological challenges of the normal human being walking around. They're not the brightest folks in the world. And if their president, savior, tells them that they're not going to get sick, it's a hoax, they're going to believe it. Even if they're going to believe it. So that's the issue that I have. We don't have critical, independent thinkers anymore. If they were critical, people have come up to me and have told me that it's a tool of compliance. And I'm like,
I was told as a form of slavery.
What?
the enslaved. That was I haven't heard that recently, but
Okay,
that was
but
actually
I
told
mean,
me.
I can't even wrap my mind around that. So you are in society and you feel so restricted that you believe that someone is going to enslave you or restrict you by having you wear a mask? What about yourself? You don't even care about yourself.
So think about this. People equate this, what's going on with these masks, to, I want to say it was in the 80s, is when they made people with motorcycles wear helmets. Was it 80s or 90s? It was around the same time with
Let's say late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, with the seat belts. And
Right.
all the pushback when people,
Right.
when it was becoming mandatory to wear your seat belts and head coverings, head covers when you're riding motorcycles. Everybody was, my freedoms and all that
Right,
kind of stuff.
right.
And now it's just second nature, and people understand that it doesn't diminish you dying in a car accident or dying in a motorcycle accident. It just makes the likelihood that you're going to buy, it diminishes it.
Right.
It lowers it. And so people are equating what goes on with these masks and people now complying with it to the same type of trend and understanding. And so it's very, very apropos for us to be talking about it, given that Fresno has been identified as one of the hot spots in the country.
Yeah, and I'm in a group chat with brothers that graduated in 1985, and one of them is a respiratory therapist, and he has told us all to gear up for the next wave of the issue that's going to come, the next spike in the COVID.
What do you mean by gear up? Just make sure the precautions and
Make
stuff?
sure that you have what you need. Make sure that while it's still in the stores, the sanitizer,
Oh.
the toilet paper, and,
So your mama and daddy gonna be running me ragged with the
yeah,
searching.
they're gonna be taking a lot of baths, and at the same time, another person that's in the chat's wife runs a floor in the Sacramento area, and she's saying that the beds are filling up.
Yeah.
So it's real. It's not a hoax.
I haven't heard.
but
Is it the
let
same
me-
thing with the beds here? I haven't heard anything
I
about the
haven't.
hospitals.
He didn't say anything
here.
about the beds here, but it's. Come on, I mean, it's like really you don't. How many times has somebody got to hit you in the head?
But think about it. A lot of the people who are denying this are not the people that's getting hit in the head. Because I'm trying to think. I mean, I know some people who have contracted the virus, but none of them. I don't have any family members that I know of that's contracted the virus.
Well, okay, so okay, I'm gonna let you
So
finish
I mean,
your point, but
I'm
gonna
just
say,
saying, there's probably a lot of people in Fresno that are in that same situation because it's not really truly hitting them upside the head. We're telling them that it's coming.
Well, you made a point before we started about one of the biggest spikes being in the jail.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's another spike that's going on in the county in a social services department. So it's out there.
What do you mean by that? Inside the department itself, or the
Yes.
clients they have?
No, in the department itself. So
Interesting.
it's here. This is the second wave.
Right.
Now we have more.
Well,
We have more testing, which
People are saying, "Oh, it's not the second wave; it is the tail end of the first wave."
okay.
If you think about a fish, they're saying that the fish has a big old
Yeah,
body,
yeah.
and then it gets kind of slender, and
Right.
then the tail blooms up. And people are saying that this is the tail of the first spike. that we had.
So my question is the fish behind this one even bigger?
I don't know.
Because we're going. I mean, this
Nobody
is the
knows.
hot season, and we're having these spikes, and we're going to go into the winter
season.
and into flu season, into the fall, and I don't think that. Are we going to have school? I don't think they should send these kids to school.
Well, I can tell you right now, the Fresno State and all of the CSUs, which is 23 or 24 campuses, are not going back to school until January.
Okay.
Fresno City College is getting ready, I think, to follow suit because the athletic league, which is called
Yeah,
the
yeah, I saw that.
CDC,
I saw that on
Central
the
Valley
news.
Conference, which is Fresno, Merced, COS, West Hills, and them. They just canceled all fall sports. Mm-hmm. So they're not even thinking about doing any sports until after the New Year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of the trend that's going on. CIF, the California Interscholastic Federation, which is over all high school sports, is supposed to make a decision about fall sports in July.
Like 20th, right?
I think it's 15th. Something. It's like 15th.
So let me
20th
ask
in
you a
there
question
somewhere.
in the same vein. how is that going to affect the school districts and education and their state funding coming down if they cancel school?
Well, the governor and the superintendent of schools have already said, okay, so let me back up for a second. The way that schools are funded is based off of what ADA, which is basically you get so much money, bounty. You get so much money for every kid that attends a school day up to 180 days. And so there's a formula that goes along with that. So what the governor and the superintendent of schools, Tony Thurmond, said way back in the beginning is that you will be able to use your ADA, established ADA, from 2018-19. So although you're not going to have people sitting in seats for 2019-2020, you'll be able to use whatever number you had at the end of last school year to be able to get your apportionment and build your budget off of for next year. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. So there are some safeguards. The other thing that just came out, speaking of education, is that with the budget, the governor, I don't know if it's the governor or the superintendent of schools, Tony Thurmond, put some safeguards in that school districts are going to either get money or they are being directed to not cut school counselors. Because one of the things that happens when the school budget goes down, the first people that get cut out are school counselors. And they're saying that those school counselors are needed, and even social workers are needed because of the trauma the kids are going through. The trauma, the uncertainty, how do they deal with all the stresses of not understanding and not knowing what's going on. So that was a good thing. I need to go back in and read more about it just came out on Monday, I believe it was. I need to go back in there and read the legislation so that I understand a little bit better. But that was, it was good to see that they were putting in some safeguards and not allowing school districts to do what they normally do. Because most school districts don't understand what the role of a school counselor is. And so they want to keep, heavy hand, administrators, those type of things. And they're going to need less administrators. They're going to need more, especially on the social emotional side. So anyway, but COVID, so the thing what I was talking about with the jail before we talked about is that there's 500 confirmed, this was as of yesterday, 507 positive cases in Fresno County or Fresno County Jail. And I don't know what is the North Annex? Is that the one downtown?
The North Annex would be the tall building.
So the one that's downtown across from the courthouse? Because that's where they're saying that most of the cases are in the North Annex, but I didn't know exactly where that was. Okay, so there's 507 cases confirmed as of yesterday. And I've been getting, through some of my political email stuff, I've been getting these requests from a mother, from a colleague saying, hey, look, I got a son that's in lockup, I got a friend that's in lockup, and then coronavirus is rampant in there, and all they're doing is taking the corona positive people and putting them in the same area. There's not a thorough cleaning, they're not requiring social distancing, they're not requiring masks and all these other types of things. What can you do? And I don't know necessarily how to address that, although I've noticed if you read and listen, there's nothing coming out of Mims. Fresno County Sheriff Mims has not made a statement or said anything about it, and that is in her facility. You haven't heard anything from the county supervisors, except for they want to open up the community, open up the economy, open, and they're not even. Our governor just said that Fresno County needs to lock down for 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks or something.
How many weeks it is,
closing all bars and indoor facilities and stuff. I think it's for 3 weeks. And Fresno County supervisor said they're not going to enforce it. So, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of accountability that needs to happen with this. And this is totally 100% under the Fresno County supervisors as well as the Fresno County sheriff's administration. And so it's going to be interesting. I'll be keeping my ears and eyes open to see exactly what the response is going to be, because this is 500. So how many, let me ask you a question. How many, just as an estimate, how many people are locked up inside of Fresno County Jail at any particular time?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. someone out there that has that knowledge.
Please chime in if
Yes.
you do have that. So I'm just guessing. So so you think it'll be more than 3,000?
In the jail?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
So think about that. So if it's, say if it is 3,000 and 500 people in the jail have coronavirus, that means 1 in every 6 person that's in jail has coronavirus.
3,000 is a lot of people. I don't think.
But for 500,
So there's 500 confirmed.
507 confirmed cases
And
of
you said that
coronavirus.
that's employees and.
No, the employees is another 25.
Okay.
25 correctional officers on top of that. So that's one. So 500 goes into 1,000 twice. To get to 3,000, that would be 2 times 3, that's 6. So 1 in every 6 inmate that is locked up right now, if it's 3,000, would be positive for coronavirus. That's crazy to me.
That's some,
But
that's
it goes
some bad
back-
juju, baby.
But it goes back to our conversation last week, the last couple of weeks, about the 13th Amendment. People who are locked up in jail, what rights do they have? The Constitution says they can be treated as slaves and indentured servants. So it's, that's what I've been thinking about it as I've been getting this information. So it's interesting. So anyway, coronavirus is here in Fresno County. You guys need to make sure that you're taking your precautions, whether it be masks,
Washing your
minimum,
hands,
washing your hands,
wearing gloves, possibly.
wearing gloves if you can. You can't always wear gloves because sometimes what you do, if you don't have a great set of gloves, like selling fireworks, and you got gloves on, if you count money and doing those type of things. By the way, if you work with money, that's another precaution that you need to be aware of, because remember, money is cloth. Money is not paper. Money is cloth, and these viruses and different things can be. My mom always used to tell me that money was some of the nastiest stuff on earth, and so just be aware of that. If you're handling money, you need to constantly be using hand sanitizers and washing your hands, and doing all those type of things. And so, yeah, interesting. Coronavirus is here in Fresno County, in particular, and you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself in whatever realm that means.
And it's very angry, so you better watch out. It's gonna hit you like
corona.
Coronavirus is angry. It's gonna pop you in your face like a Tyson knockout punch.
Tyson and Holyfield are supposed to be fighting again.
Man,
I'm waiting for it. Because Tyson, have
Is
you
that
seen
what
Tyson's? You seen his
the
workouts?
world Shakalak tour? Yeah, I seen Tyson.
Oh, he ready.
Yeah, he ready. Yeah, he ready.
Yeah, he.
Ask Mitch Blood Green if he ready or not.
By the way, did you know that they're going to do a movie of Mike Tyson, and Jamie Foxx is
he ready too.
he's supposed to be
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. And it should be good. Remember when he used to do the stand up?
Mhm,
Come here, Mr. Funny Man, Mr. Funny Man. Oh, you got lots of jokes. Come here. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Anyway, I'm off track a little bit. Okay, so next question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is your reaction to the society wanting to tear down all of these statues and monuments, in particular to the Confederacy, but then it even goes even further than that?
Well, tear them bitches down.
I know that, but why?
But not unresponsible. I think that they should move them, personally. I think that they should.
Explain that. What do you mean by, what do you mean? Okay.
I think that they should tear the statues down and put them in like a zoo or a walled off area, so that people, if they want to go see these statues, they could go and see the statues. Every statue, every person has a story behind it. To just tear the statue down and chuck it in the river or chuck it in the lake or do whatever, I think that serves a purpose. But the purpose is, if you don't understand your history and what has come before you, then you're destined to make the same mistakes. But I think that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, why do I say tear them down? Because it's a traitorous expression for you to uplift or put in high esteem someone who went against the country. fought to overthrow the country for whatever reason. Some say it was economics purely. Some say it was slavery purely. Some say it was a matter of both. Well, it's like the people with the mask. Just because you get upset and you start hooping and hollering, don't mean that you can't get put in your place. And they lost. They lost. So they need their own separate space and place to erect their statues so that they can view them at their leisure. That's my personal.
Okay, so people probably ain't gonna believe this, but I agree with you 2,000%. And I hadn't thought about the angle in which you just shared, but you are absolutely correct. That those statues don't need to be necessarily torn down, but they do need to be taken down and put in a particular area, just like the Jewish people have done in Los Angeles with the Holocaust Museum, talking about all the atrocities and those type of things that went on in there. Same thing like the, it's in, not Mobile, it's in Birmingham, the lynching museum. Have you heard about that?
No, sir.
So they got a brand new museum, or it's a newer museum. I want to say it's in Birmingham, Alabama. I might be wrong though, but it's in the South. And there's a room where you go in there where they have these nooses, and it's got names on it of people who have been lynched. And it shows the atrocities of what went on with lynching and what the atrocities went on with African Americans, but they use it in an educational thing. And I agree with you about those statues.
The other position that I thought, and you just jogged that back into my memory, is that it's an out and out, blatant terroristic act to erect a slave owner statue in the middle of the square, with all the negative connotations for an African American to walk by. And this is where we get back into the dual psychology, why I say African Americans are schizophrenic. Because if you weren't schizophrenic, every day you walk by there, you would attempt to tear it down on your own, and somebody would have to come and get you. But because that understanding that those folks were wrong, we just kind of slough it off, and it becomes routine.
There's three major time periods also that now that people have done history as to when those Confederate statues and monuments were erected. First was 1880, or whatever it was, during the Reconstruction, that kind of stuff. The South will rise again. The other one was in the 1920 transition, when the Klan became big, and was it Woodrow Wilson that had, so one of our presidents, I think it was Woodrow Wilson, Birth of a Nation, the one about the Klan, that did the premiere of it in the White House.
In the White House, yes.
So that was another time when they were putting up these monuments to the Confederacy, and then the other time was during the Civil Rights, when they 50s or so, 50s, late 40s, early through the 50s into the 60s, is when they were erecting.
Early 60s.
Yeah, when they were first doing in the fight for civil rights. That's when the third time period as to when they were erecting those statues.
And so another conversation that I have with people is that, to make them kind of aware, is we are the demarcation line.
When you say we
meaning the people that were the 50-something, from 50 to 53, 54.
Born in the 60s.
The civil right, the early 60s. The Civil Rights Bill, the first one was 64, right? And then the next one was in 68. So about roughly around there.
Frame.
So the demarcation line are people that are below that, and the people that are above that.
Okay.
So if the people that are above that have an idea and understanding of what's going on, they're going to preach to you that this is the way it was. Let's take it back to the good old days. Let's take it back to when Caucasian or white folks had these freedoms, when we could choke black people in the street, when we could sick dogs on black people, when we could water hose and gas and do all these things to black people, minorities. And then you have the generation that is under us. So I would say our kids' generation, which look at these things that are now in what would be considered a museum of YouTube and things like that in order to see them, because they have not been in the forefront of their face, such as the riots were and all that civil unrest, that when they hit the TV is what caused the nation to say, well, we can't treat people this way. So that's the demarcation line. And it's sad to say this, to make this statement, but the Trump supporters and the people that are giving us normal folks in regular society now the hard time and the issues are usually over 50 years old. Oh, what a pleasant place it'll be when those jokers die.
Okay, so remember we talked about this. We've talked about this a couple different times. What also aligns up with that time frame that you talk about, that 60-something, is the end of the baby boomers. So the baby boomers officially end in 64, and then 64 to, I'm not sure what the other cutoff is in there, is our generation, Generation X.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, as far as political power, voting age people, the baby boomers have been the largest group for probably the last 30 years or so. And baby boomers get that name because of after World War II, people returning back to their loved ones, having babies because of, they're
44, 43 to roughly 50.
Something like that, yeah.
If you were born
40s,
in there, once again, yeah.
And so that generation, though, is getting
70s, 80s, yeah.
Yeah, 70s, 80s, and they're diminishing.
Yeah.
And either they're no longer, or they're getting ready to be no longer the largest generational power of voting age.
Mm-hmm.
And the next largest generation is the millennials. It skips right over us. Gen X, it skips right over us and goes to Aaron and Michael's generation. And remember, you brought this up, that generation doesn't understand. They've only read about civil rights. They don't know anybody who actually physically, or know very few people who went through segregation. And they definitely don't know anybody who went through Jim Crow.
The thing is that everybody has their own experiences that they bring to the table, mm-hmm. right? So that age is, let's say, 20 years old. Mm-hmm. And like I said on a previous show, if you were an Obama baby, let's say you got consciousness at 4, and then you got 8 years of him, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you're 12, and now you have 4 more years of Trump. You're in your 19 or so.
So you're just getting,
you don't understand this mindset of treating people differently mm-hmm. because of the way they look or because of the way they act. They're a more inclusive generation, mm-hmm. and that's who's out there burning up stuff and tearing up stuff, and
they haven't voted until this election.
Oh, well, yeah.
Remember, you said if they're 19, 18 years old, they're not going to be voting until 2020 election
in
mass and moving forward.
Right.
So 2020, 2022, 2024, 2026 is going to be very, 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 very different for those baby boomer generations because, like you said, the issues are different.
They see them different.
Yeah,
the issues
exactly.
they see them.
You're right. They see them different.
My question for you is, who is the Republicans going to run against Biden?
Okay. And the only reason why I'm hesitating,
that's a loaded question,
is that the Republican Party has been infiltrated with a parasite. They got a tick. They got a huge tick.
With a couple parasites.
So the person who's going to have the Republican moniker running in that race is going to be Donald Trump.
What if okay.
I don't think,
okay.
I mean, anything can happen.
Right.
But he's going to be the person with the Republican moniker who's running against Joe Biden.
Okay.
But the Republican Party as a whole does not support him any longer.
Right.
And so I told you about the Lincoln Project, folks, which is the Republican.
Yeah.
And there's another group, Never Trumpers.
That was about a month ago.
Yeah, when they start doing those ads. You should check out. They got some more. Some more ads.
The thing is Trump. How is he going to take the defeat? Because he's gonna lose.
Not well.
Okay. So then and I'm not even worried about his base.
We're gonna have 60 days to deal with that because he gets voted out November 3rd, and he doesn't have to officially leave until January 20th.
Well, everybody has had a time in their life when they've done something and they've been punished and sent to their room, and they go to their room and they have a fit, and the ass kicking or whooping that come after you have a fit is actually bigger than because
he ain't a kid. I don't know. In this case, he's the parent.
No. Everybody answers to somebody.
I got you, but the only difference I would have with what you're saying is that when he gets his ass kicked, he don't have to go to a room. When he get his ass,
he got much bigger consequences.
So think about it. November 3rd, that joker gonna get, like you said, he gonna get defeated. So November 10th, a week later, he can say, everybody who's doing executive order, everyone who's in this country who is not a legal citizen, you got 30 days to go home. He can write that into an executive order, and that then becomes, it's not the law of the land, but it is the directive of the land. He could say...
Well, that's my question. Do you think that
is he going to do that?
That he would be protected enough to be allowed to do that?
I'm not saying that it's going to happen.
Right.
I'm just saying that he will do that. They'll take him to court. People will fight him.
Would the citizens, we're the government, the citizens, would they allow such an act to happen? Because you can always rebel against or say that we're not going to follow this.
Think about this. I can sit down right now on this pad and say, Gerald Miller is going to jail. And I give it to the police officer, and then he follows through on it. You can't stop Donald Trump as the president from doing whatever executive order he does.
Right, but the police officer can say,
correct.
I don't know who you are. And
we as a citizenry, we as you said, as the government, the people, are not going to allow that to happen. But it doesn't mean that he won't do things such as that. I'm taking $4 billion out of this discretionary fund, and they're going to build this wall. They're going to take this money. I'm taking this money out of this fund because I can do it. And even if I can't do it, take me to court. It's going to take you 30 days to I'm taking that money, and they're going to build the rest of this wall or build another big chunk of the wall. He can do things like that. And I don't put that past him. I really, truly don't. With illegals that are here in the country, can't do tax break because the House would never allow him to do a tax break. Anything with money, well, most things with money have to be passed to the House of Representatives.
I don't see.
Here's one for you. He could go in, I believe it's in the Senate, and say, it's no longer 9 chief justices. We're going to move that to 11. And I believe that's under the Senate's power to be able to ratify that. And now he can put 2 more conservative judges.
Okay, I can see that.
So, but those are the things that he could do. Now, he don't know that, but he got Bob Barr,
Bob Barker.
Whatever his name is, his attorney general.
Fat dude.
He got all the rest of these people that are under. Okay, so we're going to do an executive order. We're going to stop SNAP program. We're going to defund SNAP. You know, with the food.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I know. He can do things like that. Now, whether or not it happens, I don't know. I'm assuming he would get sued, and there would be some type of stopgap measures.
I'm not even talking about him being sued. I'm talking about people enacting what the BS that he puts on the paper. And the point that I'm getting is he's going to even have a bigger fit when people just say, "You're a fool. You're a goonie. Go somewhere and put your head in the sand." It don't matter what it is.
How about this one? Here's one that's serious. We got all this intelligence right now that supposedly Russia has been paying whoever it is over there in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, Taliban or whoever it is, to kill, doing a bounty on U.S. soldiers. Because of that, now Trump declares war on Russia and starts World War III.
Are the generals and the people going to? My question is not what he can do. He can do that now.
Correct.
The question that I have is, would the people stop him? The citizenry stop him, and would the government officials follow his lead?
I believe that they would not do that based on his impetus. But what my point is, he gonna do what he wants to do and what he's told to do.
Yeah, I believe and that doesn't bother me.
Oh, but it should, because
it doesn't.
It's going to create a bunch of confusion.
What bothers me is if people do if they back what the idiocy of what he can do whatever he wants. He can take it. He can walk across the street and clear peaceful protesters, so he can take a picture of a Bible in front of a church upside down.
And you saw the pushback from that. I hear what you're saying, but you see what the generals did as a pushback, right? They didn't specifically go back at him and tell him that he was wrong for doing what he did. They said, I was wrong for being a party of that. I should have separated myself from that incident. So if they get a direct order from Trump that Russia is now an enemy, you are to attack them, they got to go through their processing to say, as a military person, I have an allegiance, as a general, I have an allegiance to the commander-in-chief.
No, you have an allegiance to your company. If the commander-in-chief gives you an order that is cockamamie and wacky, you don't have to follow through with that. Now, that's the question that I'm asking.
But that's what I'm saying.
Do you think that they would follow through with that?
Yes, based on the intelligence that we just got. Think about the intelligence we just got.
You answer the question. That's fine.
The intelligence that we got is that Russia has been paying a bounty to kill American soldiers.
Okay.
And that there is a growing body of evidence that says that that is true. So if Trump was to say Russia has been paying a bounty to kill American soldiers, and I'm directing you generals now that we're at war with Russia, that would be a valid order.
Okay, well, if it's valid, then it's valid.
But it's
valid.
But your question was, would they follow through on it? I don't think.
Well, the context of, and here we go with the semantics and the understanding and the push and pull. The way the question was asked was if it were not a legitimate situation.
No, they're not going to follow illegitimate situations.
So then, back to the initial, how is Trump going to react, given the situation that he's been depowered, that his power has been de-escalated, even as the president, because no one is now listening to him.
But he's given. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure that you're following where I'm going. Trump, I agree with you. Trump is going to be an ousted, November 4th, he will be an ousted president. But he still is in power until January 20th. On November 10th, he tells our generals, based on the intelligence that I was given about Russia killing American soldiers, we have that validated. We are now at war with Russia.
Okay.
That would be a valid order based on the intelligence that we have.
Okay.
Is that the best direction that we should be going in? No.
No, I agree with that.
But he could set up that situation knowing that he's going to be out of power in 30 days or 60 days or whatever it is, and then Joe Biden then will inherit that. And that's not going to be good for our country. To be at war with Russia, that's not in our best interest to be in that situation. But him giving that order based on the intelligence that's coming out right now would be a valid order. Would it be the best order? No. But it would be valid based on the intelligence. And so I've learned that these folks, they have ways to manipulate the situation to get what they want. Yeah. Ultimately, this is my prediction. ultimately, Donald Trump is going to die from a mysterious, under mysterious circumstances. He's obese, unhealthy, don't eat well, so his heart gonna blow up. But you know what's gonna happen? It's going to be triggered and manipulated by someone. Remember?
So back before we started speculating, and my initial question was, who is the Republican Party going to present to run against Joe Biden?
I don't think no one. The Republican Party that you're talking about, nobody. The Republican Party representative, you can't have multiple.
We have a Republican Party and we have a Democratic Party.
So the Republican Party representative is going to be Donald Trump.
Okay. All right.
But there is another faction of the Republican Party who is not going to support Donald Trump. Now, whether or not they come up with a third candidate based on some other, the Independence Party or whatever party it is, I don't know that. Are they going to come and support Joe Biden? Some of them probably will, but not a lot of them, because they're going to expend their money and energies into discrediting Trump. Politics is, I'm finding this out, politics is not simple. It ain't simple by no stretch of the imagination. And when you think you figure out politics, you go have coffee at the coffee shop and you see Obama and McConnell having coffee in the coffee shop. They think ain't nobody there and you see them having a conversation. What could they be talking about? They are mortal enemies. But what can they be talking about?
The betterment of the nation.
But McConnell said that he was going to do everything in his power to make Obama a one-term president.
Right.
So how then do you, in your mind, how do you reconcile seeing these publicly?
The scenario that you just laid out. It's for the betterment of the country that Obama puts his ego away and at least listens and hears what McConnell is saying, because it might benefit the country, the nation as a whole.
That's what I'm saying about politics. Politics is not black and white. Politics
it's about what can people do for me.
Muddy as, what they say, the old saying is, politics makes strange bedfellows. So, I mean, I'm not talking about bedfellows as in sexual relationships.
I understand exactly.
Bedfellows that they basically are getting along. And we have remnants of that here in Fresno. Some of our leadership here in Fresno, on Monday in public, they opposite sides of the spectrum. Well, on Wednesday, you might see them sitting out having coffee.
Yeah, because politics is also about a give and take relationship of getting the things, that you want done today. I'll, some chips pushed across the table for next week. And
Maybe that's
then
why
it's
I
my
have so
turn.
much difficulties with politics, because I subscribe to Sinbad. Sinbad once said, you can't have hair down past your butt on Tuesday and be bald-headed on Wednesday. I just don't believe that people can make that type of dramatic change overnight. There is something fake and faulty about making those types of transitions. If you are blue on Tuesday, you better be some hue, light blue, dark blue, teal, some version of blue on Wednesday, or I'm gonna have a big question mark. If you show up red or purple, fuchsia, something like, I'm gonna have
red and blue is purple, so you have to have a give and take. If you take your money and run that way, and I take my money and run that way, and I got to chip in half, and you got to chip in half to get a bridge built across the river, that we're both going to perish and die. Nothing gets accomplished if you don't have a give and take scenario.
People used to hold this statement against me, but my whole thing, I used to tell people, they didn't understand how I could get, why I have friends of multi-ethnicities, multi-racials, multi-backgrounds, how I can be friends with conservatives. If you hate black folks on Tuesday and you hate black folks on Wednesday and we got to work together, I can deal with that. But if you telling me you love black folks on Tuesday and you hating black folks on Wednesday, you and I are going to be at odds, because you're not true there's something amiss in there. If you always a racist 7 days a week, you and we ain't gonna agree on stuff, but at least I'm comfortable where you are. I know that I'm not coming to your house for dinner. I'm not letting you go get me no glass of water, and I'm assuming you would do the same. But if we have to come up with a way of benefiting kids in a particular setting, or we have to come up with a way to, we got to come up with getting fresh water in the Butler Park, then you and I are cool, because I know what and where how I can deal with you. If you all over the place, I don't know what I'm gonna get from you. I don't know if us going down.
It depends on what you need from that person.
I agree. I am more comfortable getting that from somebody who...
It ain't about being comfortable when you need to get a job done.
That's not true. Dude.
It is true. You don't get the job done, then nobody benefits.
So you might be going down the yellow brick road with this person who's flip-flopping all over the place who may have a different agenda. And yeah, you want
everybody has differences of agendas.
I got you. So I would much rather go down a bumpy road, a dirt road with a racist, with somebody who don't like black folks. I would rather go down a dirt road with them because I know what I'm going to get. Ultimately, when I get to my destination, I know exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to be uncomfortable, but at least I understand why I'm uncomfortable. If you and I are on this yellow brick road and you telling me all is hunky-dory and we get to the end of the road and I done put all my faith in you, and when we get to the end of the road, it ain't what we talked about, that's the part that I have difficulties with. I got you.
And I'm praying for you that you get over that.
I see the big question mark on your face. I would much rather dance with the devil I know than dance with the devil I don't know or that I'm not certain of. I know how to get down in the outhouse or the White House. That's one of the things I've worked on being comfortable with. I don't want to be uncomfortable in situations. Does that mean that I always agree where I'm at? Am I always going to like where I'm at? No. But at least
I can't.
I understand. That's me.
Prescribe to
that's me
to that understanding. I get it. I true. Mm-hmm. I understand, but that's And
so I think that's one of my strengths. People don't always understand that, but that's one of my strengths. That's why I believe that's why I've been able to get through the things that I've been able to go through. Is that so? When I was at Washington Union. One of the best compliments I ever got was from a redneck racist who used to whoop black folks with an axe handle. I knew exactly what to expect from him. But he spoke of me very highly in the community and with other people because people were telling me this. How did you get Mr. Such and Such? He really likes you. He don't like black folks. He hates black folks. Why does he like you so much? And I wasn't playing no games with him. But I think that he was comfortable that if I told him I was going to get him A or we was going to do A on Tuesday, he could count on being there. Or if I asked him for C on Thursday, I knew that I was going to get C on Thursday. And if I didn't, he would explain to me why. I just think that that's the part that in our society is missing. We always want to be... It's this win or lose. Everything is a competition.
Everything is a competition. Everything is a race. I've explained that issue on past shows. Yes, I agree. But you have to have a give and take if you want to have an inclusive society. You have to be able to stand on your principles and say we're going to do it this way or we're going to do it that way. Even if the person is all over the place, that doesn't matter. Because sometimes, as a responsible person, you're going to have to take on the responsibility of doing it all yourself. Maybe all they can contribute is a financial component, but you need physical labor and physical help. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to make adjustments. I don't care who it is. I'll give you the break. But if I don't see that you're going to pull through or whatever, then you have to make adjustments on the fly again. Anybody can come to me and say anything to me. I know who I am. I am a beautiful black guy.
So let me ask you, let's get off that topic, because one other topic that I really want to talk with you about is about the movement to defund the police department. What's your reaction to that? What's your response to that?
Take all their money.
So what are we going to do about the service that the police provides in your
Now, what services are you discussing?
I'm talking about protecting and serving. So if somebody is breaking in my house at 2 o'clock in the morning, I want to be able to call someone with a or somebody who can help me.
So if someone is breaking into your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you reach over into your nightstand and you get your gun out and they present themselves and they say, I'm so-and-so, I'm the burglar, come to get your stuff, and you pop their ass, you've done your civil service.
I got you. I don't have a gun.
Okay.
There's many of us in society that do not have guns.
And because you don't have a gun, then you're relying upon the police service to come and protect you.
Agreed. And I don't relinquish my citizenship. I don't relinquish who I am. And there are many of us who are in that situation. I don't want to go get a gun permit.
Then don't. So when the whole of society says defund the police department, and only so many dollars are going toward X, Y, and Z, and the dollars that were there before are now going to social service components to, as we have spoken earlier.
So they should have. I don't believe the police department should be involved in social services.
Okay. So before I was so rudely interrupted. So now that you can educate the generation that's coming up to be more self-sufficient, just like I tell people, when I came on the police department, domestic violence was handled a totally different way. And then O.J. Simpson happened, and then it was deemed to handle domestic violence in a whole different way. Well, as long as you educate your population and your culture correctly, then your chances are minimized and goes down. So then you don't need the police to show up for a 5150 situation.
That's not what I agree with you. 200%.
Well, that's defunding, because you're taking the funds.
I said when I have somebody breaking in my house at 2 o'clock in the morning, I want to be able to call somebody, whether they call police,
you can call the police,
donut catchers, whatever.
Right, and you will still be able to call the police. Your wait time is going to go up.
Then they're not protecting and serving.
So whatever happened to protecting and serving yourself?
I understand what you're saying, but not everybody is comfortable in that situation. And just like gun owners have the right to own guns, those of us who do not have guns have the right not to own them.
I'm not saying you don't have the right to own a gun.
But I still have the right in society to be protected.
You will be protected 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes later.
Okay, so
so the question is not for me. The question is, once again, to give you the platform so that you could express yourself and your desires on what it means to defund the police.
So to defund the police means they need to go back to protecting and serving. They need to get out of social work. They need to get out of domestic violence. They need to get out unless there's an arrest that's going to be made. If there's a perpetrator in a domestic violence case where there's a victim and a perpetrator, then the perpetrator needs to be arrested. If it's just a matter of they yelling and screaming at one another in a domestic dispute.
You're getting excited.
Then I am getting excited because that's
your volume is
when
going
people
up.
say defund the police.
I'm glad you're not hitting the table anymore,
but there is a service of protection that should be provided to society.
Why do the police departments? Why do police departments get to do their job?
Because there's laws. This is just my naive retort. Because there are laws that need to be enforced, and the police department are the enforcers of those laws. Is that
so? Is the police department under contract with the incorporated area of a particular place to provide that service? Because it is it is a department.
I don't know
of the city government.
Correct. So are they under contract? Hell yeah.
Okay.
They're under contract with school districts.
Okay.
They're under contract with the air. Well, I don't know what the contract. They're under contract with the housing authority. They have contractual work that could be defunded and provided in a different form.
Okay.
Those are contracts. I don't know what the relationship is between the police department and the Fresno Police Department and the city of Fresno. I'm assuming that it's in part of the contract. I mean, the compact.
Let me give you a little socialization here. So, do you remember, I don't know the years, when Ashley Swearingen's form of government was I can't think of the name of it, but it's more of an individual part of the government, smaller government, Republican. We want smaller government. We want to privatize. That's what it is. We want to privatize the government, right? So how do you think that they privatize the government?
Well, the one
Because she has a grand example that she
the one big
pull off.
example was a miss that they had when they were trying to privatize trash.
But they got it halfway done. So
I don't know. What do you mean by that?
Because they only pick up residential trash now. They sold off and farmed off out of the department, the city of Fresno.
So commercial is privatized, right?
They privatize.
Correct.
And so now they don't have that department in the city government. So just like Parks and Recreation, when you don't have the funding in your budget to fund Parks and Recreation because the police department's budget is eating up that, what do? You shrink that department of the city. They're all just departments of the city. So when something happens to you at your water plant, you don't sue the water plant. You sue the city.
Right.
When something happens to you at the police department, you don't sue the police department.
You sue the city.
You sue the city.
Correct.
So the city, so all of these are just departments of.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
if Miller and Miller and Miller and Miller had enough money and a force, then we could go and have a contract with the city to police, because you can defund, eradicate, get rid of the police department in Fresno, and have the sheriff take it over.
True.
So you don't need to have a department that is out of control.
But it's still policing. It's just policing by the sheriff's department. It's not a change. It's still policing. It's just not Fresno Police Department.
Right.
And the issue is not necessarily with Fresno Police Department. The issue is with policing, period. The heavy hand the policing has.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood your question. You're asking about defunding the police departments overall throughout the nation?
I'm just telling you.
I'm trying
what is the
to
movement.
get a focus.
There are
and understand
movements
it.
right now afoot in Fresno as well as across the country, and that they say they want to defund police department.
Right, and I gave you my example.
Defund means take their money away.
Not totally, no.
That's what defund means.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It means to take a portion of your monies that you have in your budget away and reallocate them to somewhere else. Defunding, total defunding, yeah, it's taking the whole budget away.
That's what defund means, is to eliminate.
Okay. Well, then we're at an impasse on the understanding of what defunding means. Do I think that they should totally do that? No, I don't. But I think that they should take large chunks and portions of the budget and reallocate them to different departments in the city so that we can have a better social structure and understanding. The whole of police needs to be retrained because the attitudes in the society.
Okay, so defund is a transition verb that means to withdraw funding from. So when a person says defund anything, they're saying we're taking the money from them. Not we're taking some, we're taking the money from them. That's what defund means. So that's the question that I've been having with people. When you say defund, you need to clarify that for me, because I want to be able to pick up the phone and call and be able to get services for somebody breaking in my house.
So give me a term that says take some of the money.
Reallocate, reorganize,
Okay.
restructure,
Okay.
re-something,
Okay.
not D. D means remove. Totally. And I think that when people, that's the pushback and the misunderstanding that people have. When they say defund, they're actually talking about not even calling it policing anymore. That's okay, cool. Don't call it policing anymore. Call it something else. But there is a common that needs to be served. There is a common public that needs to be served by some of the services that are provided by police departments. Do they need to be going out do schools need to be spending millions of dollars in contractual services to the police department? No. They don't need police at school campuses. They need to come up with their own resolutions for that. Do they need police for gangs, large crowds, those things? Yeah. Large events? Yeah. But do you need to have a police officer on every middle school and high school campus in your district? I don't believe so. When a kid doesn't come to school, I'm just talking from my own knowledge, when a kid doesn't come to school, do you need to call the police department to go do a welfare check on that kid because you haven't seen him in a week? That's not the police's job. There needs to be a different entity, a different agency, whether it's out of the school district, social services, whatever. There needs to be a different element that goes at. That was my first job in education. Truant officer. I actually went out to homes of kids who didn't come to school, but I was an employee of the school district. No firearm, no badge. I'm going to these, I forget what they called them, but it was the migrant home camps, the shotgun homes out in the country. Mi español is muy malo. Their English is very bad, and I'm trying to communicate with them. So I would give them a card, ask for who I needed to ask for. If they could help, not. But at least I leave them a card so they can call back to school, and they can explain that El Vato Negro was out there in their camp looking for somebody. So that's some of the things that the school districts need to get to and the police need to get out of. That's just an example from education, which I know very well. I'm assuming that if there were people in social services, social workers, those type of things.
So are you saying that they need to defund those programs that the police?
Defund those programs, yes.
Get the money?
Defund those programs, yes. Defund the police, I'm not on board with that totally. Defund those programs and the services that the contract they got with the housing authority, yes. They have the defund the contracts that they have with school districts, yes.
Who do you think pays for the housing authority contract?
The housing authority.
So you don't think the housing authority should be able to pay for a police officer to patrol their neighborhood?
No.
Why?
Because the housing authority needs to be able to, because the residents of the housing authority is going to push back and say that the heavy hand of the police department is present there. I'm not saying.
So are you talking about the housing authority budget? Or are you talking about the police department budget?
I'm talking about the millions of dollars at the house. I don't know what them. That's not true. Now let me say that because I don't know what.
Are
the
you
amount.
talking about the housing authority budget? Or are you talking about the police department budget?
You were.
It doesn't
okay.
matter. No.
Whoever is the
I asked you
officer-
a simple question.
And I'm gonna give you a simple answer.
You're not.
Whoever
Okay.
the officer was who was in the housing authority was probably split funded like they do with the school district. That part of their salary is coming out of the police department budget, and part of their salary is coming out of the housing authority. Same thing we did in education.
Okay, but that's not the question that I asked you.
You just asked me about budgets.
Okay, all right, Darren. Explain yourself. Here we go.
You just asked me about budgets.
I didn't ask you about budgets. I asked you if the housing authority wants to pay for a police officer to patrol the housing authority. What's the issue? What's the problem with that?
They should not be allowed to do that.
And I asked you why. And you're going to tell me about
because the residents that the residents of the housing authority that the housing authority is going to be hiring a police officer.
So the housing authority should take their money and okay.
Same thing with the school district.
Okay.
Should the school district be expending money for police officers on campus?
If
No.
it's their money.
No.
If it's their money.
No. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't know about the housing authority. I'm just extrapolating what I know from education. And if it's similar, it needs to be defunded. Those programs like that, those contracts need to be defunded.
Okay.
Now, does the police department itself need to be defunded? You got to tell me more about that. Because there are services that I believe that all citizens want from the police department. And defunding them then removes that.
Okay, because your stickler is on defunding the police
Correct.
department as a whole.
Correct.
And that's not what I said.
That is what you said.
Okay, well, pin the tail on the donkey. If that's what you heard me say, then that's fine. Do they need to defund the police department? I said yes, they need to defund the police department. And I followed that up with saying that certain programs in the police department need to be defunded. So maybe I have a misunderstanding of what's rattling around in your head about defunding, which you cleared up, and I'll accept that. I will accept that you said defunding is a total. So no, then we're not going to say defunding as a total. But it still remains that I'm saying defunding as certain programs and certain things. And the monies that they defunded or take out of reallocate, since we're being sticklers on words, they need to reallocate toward other social programs.
Correct. Okay. So we're over time, by the way. So anyway, so Carrie Reed, I don't know who you are, but thank you for chiming in. What's up, Uncle Sam? Who else is on there? Are you able to see?
No, I can't see.
Anyway, so next Wednesday we'll be back here, 8 p.m. Please make sure you get your census done. Please make sure you register to vote for the November election. Please make sure that if you're in the Fresno area that you go by Ashland and West, support Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated and our fireworks stand to be able to provide scholarships to graduating seniors in the 2021 class.
And if you're able to go and get a firearm, go get a firearm, get registered, get trained, and so that you can defend yourself, because I've been in situations and seen the police take quite a time sometimes to get to your house. And who knows what's going to happen in that time that it takes that you can't defend yourself and you outwardly allow somebody else to protect you.
So with that, we'll be back next Wednesday, 8
Love,
o'clock.
peace, and hair grease.
Until then, love you. Peace.